We never wanted this to be like some industry conference where people are just selling to you, that people are sitting there going like, oh yeah, here's the edge. And here's all the things that people are trying to do to go beyond that edge of the way that we know how to do things.
Yes. But you know, I remember when we came down, we had the IEEE.
Yeah.
And you made an emphasis on like the biggest R&D. Because there's a lot like AI conferences, but mostly like companies selling stuff, you know. What is the difference? Why did you specifically say R&D?
Because the point is, you need a research depth to figure out why the thing that you're trying is not working. If you're just gonna go like, it's fine, I'll just take a ChatGPT, I'll just take a YOLO, which is these open, computer vision models, and it doesn't work for my use case. What's next? You're going to wait for somebody else to release an update that then says, now it works. You have to then figure out like, the reason that it has these challenges is A, B, or C. 100%. I think I can solve C. 100%. Let me actually do the work to solve 100%. C. That's research.
100%.
Right? It's that I'm going to inquire, I'm going to build new, and group, I've now got my own thing. That's why we say that's when it becomes that you can actually shape your own future, because you literally have the tooling to look at something and go like, this doesn't work for me. Let me go and improve it.
Got you.
Yeah.
As you can tell, this is one of the grandfathers of the deep learning Indaba. He needs no introduction. Prof. Vukosi Marivate. We've had him on the show, I don't know, every year. We went with him in Ghana, in Senegal. Now we're in Rwanda, Kigali, in the exhibition hall at the deep learning Indaba. Prof, good to see you.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
No one has a busy schedule like you. I'm convinced. But I get it because, like you said, we need, and this is now referencing you in your keynote, we need people in research and academia to push the policy, to push the AI politician side of it, because that's what informs the decisions from up top. Drawing on that, Prof, what is the landscape of AI policy development right now on the continent?
I think it's very interesting. I can split it into two.
Okay.
So it's unfortunate. It's a pre-ChatGPT and a post-ChatGPT.
Okay, I like that.
Yeah, so on one side, we've had a number of AI kind of revolutions over let's say the last 2 decades, 20 years. And every time something has happened, yes, there's a bit of activity, but then you've never really seen the amount of activity that happened until Gen AI really came to the consumer, not to the researchers.
Yes, sir.
So the other ones were maybe more towards, developers can do something in computer vision, like we go back to ImageNet and what happened there. Then the transformer comes in 2017, but it's not really, people are not, it's just that in the R&D space, people are seeing like, transformers there, you have an update to Gmail and Google Search.
100%.
It's in the background.
100%.
And I think, especially with what happened in the, in the 2020s, 2019s, in that time of the work that was coming out in that space, seeing that you need more data, open data movements, more computer vision, a little bit of language. A couple of places started across the world to say, how are we going to think about what are the values that we want these systems to actually represent 100%. In terms of societies. So in the African Union Development Agency, NAPAD, they brought a number of us together and said, we need to write this white paper for Africa.
Got you.
On one part, there's a couple of things. There was, I think, the data policy framework that they released. That was also a reaction to the Malabo Convention.
Okay.
So for people who don't know, the Malabo Convention is basically Africa's GDPR.
Okay.
And this was, I think we're going back to 2014. It was signed in, but it only took until 2013 for the minimum signatures for it to be ratified as a African
continental thing.
Yeah, right. So just imagine 10 years. So when they came up with the data policy framework, they were like, no, we need something that's a guideline to the African nations, not a treaty, because the treaty takes too long. I don't even know if South Africa is, even today, for the Malabo Convention, we've gone to Parliament to change our to match.
To ratify that.
To match. I'm not even sure about that. So the data policy framework comes out, great document to go look at in those parts of like, no, this is just the guidelines for African states of that if they're now coming out with data policies, they can now use that thing. So now there was this thinking, maybe then we should do a white paper for AI instead of going for a continental strategy or policy or treaty, because for AI, and this is back in 2021, we don't think we can wait 5 years or 10 years for it. It wouldn't matter.
Definitely not.
It wouldn't
would
matter.
be outdated whatever we wrote 5 years ago.
Right. They would completely be outdated. So the interesting thing that out of NEPAD and the APET, which is the kind of this panel on emerging technologies, they brought us together. They brought in, I think for me, from outside, it was very encouraging young people to say, come together, join with also the people who are experienced in these areas, and let's work on this white paper together. So it had, yes, Masakane, deep learning in Indaba, data science, like all these players that I'm hoping now the viewers know because of your work that you're doing. Yeah, you're doing.
They, don't act like you don't know.
They came into this process. And for me, personally, it was the first big kind of policy push I went into of like, oh, now I'm working. You're doing the engagement, you're talking about what you've seen, your voice is being taken seriously, right? And it's these young people who are bringing these inputs. And that's when now the white paper process kind of goes through. Draft is ready about end of 2022. And then, as I said, post ChatGPT, now there was this like scramble for a lot of places to say, what is our AI policy? And we were now on the outer side releasing the draft for public comment. But then now what you see, which has been the thing for the last 2 years, is many African countries now trying to work to develop their own policies. So for the ones who could go early, they have. For the ones who might not, need to go early, South Africa kind of already had the 4IR kind of framework. So you can build on that. And also we have other things in terms of our innovation ecosystem. So I think the policy will bubble up. It's coming in those spaces. But for other places, it was rushing now to go and like, let's say what we're doing, because you're reacting to Europe, DSA, DMA, all these things that are coming through, the Gen AI kind of policies. So there's a lot of movement that have gone on. It's just that at the same time as you're seeing this activity, we need to think about what needs to be fast and what needs to be slow. So the white paper took 2 years to kind of write out. It came out, there was public comment. Now it actually helped in the final strategy that the AU developed as part of so now at the AU, yes, there's the white paper, which predates it, and then there's the continental strategy on AI. So that's where we are right now. I encourage everybody who can read those documents, right? And then it's not just of knowing, but then also locally you can be more informed in asking your local representatives, so what are we doing towards this?
But Prof, I engage a lot with a lot of startups.
Yeah.
In thank you for the coffee there.
Yeah.
I engage a lot of startups in innovation hubs, in co-working spaces, and there's an emerging school of thought, Prof. The people on the ground actually creating these tools. They're saying, but Prof, when you are up here, you are regulating, you're over-regulating, you're stifling the innovation on the ground. Deregulate. Let us catch up with everybody. Then after we've caught up or we've reached a specific threshold, then you can start tightening these screws. What do you say to that school of thought?
So, in that, okay, one, I'm not a policymaker and I'm not a government official. That creates if people think that, it actually creates problems, because sometimes when I'm engaging with people, I then end up from their compliance people, I get emails asking me, because can we make sure that you're not a government representative, because we then have processes about making sure we're not influencing thing. I'm like, no, I'm not. Even in the G20 process, which I'm going to use as a jumping off point, at the G20 AI work and digital economy working group, I'm a knowledge partner.
Okay.
So it's almost the same thing of you raise your hand and say, no, I'm available to spend the time with the policymakers
and
to assist,
giving insight.
Yeah, to give insight. So and we have a number of great colleagues at University of Pretoria and beyond who've also raised their hands and said we are going to we're going to volunteer to give that time. So even in those spaces, yes, sometimes policymaking looks like it's slow and it's not reactive, but those things have been brought up. I'm saying, how are you going to build in regulatory sandboxes where people can have spaces 100%. To play? Yes, you still have oversight, because people think we should just have a free-for-all. there's reasons that the oversight has to be there. That we don't want to hurt people.
100%.
A lot of AI and data is about people, if not most of it, not all of it. So we need to have these protections that are there. At the same time, as you're saying that, people are saying, things are not, there's even like in South Africa, the information regulator has been criticized.
Yeah.
That they have a very nice, framework.
Yeah.
They don't have bite.
Yeah. No, certainly.
Right?
Certainly.
And that's a big challenge, right?
Yeah.
So we're seeing this now coming out later on where the certain entities I won't name are now there's going to be cases against them. But then you could have looked 5 years ago and said like, this is not right. Right? And then the information regulator will say like, well, we can't do anything until we are given these types of
100%.
Yeah, like these types of things. So it's very important to understand those pieces that you can't be outside. And that's a part of like maybe as we don't say as individuals, but maybe as we're having sub-communities in the whole technology ecosystem, choose people or work and say, please go there to
100%.
give the information about what we're concerned about.
100%.
If you decide to stay outside,
100%.
right, you are literally not in the game. Like you then it just becomes, you see something coming out and then you say, oh, well, they never consulted us. It's like, it's easy to say that. It actually, unfortunately, it's much easier to say that than actually going like, no, we're going to ask
100%.
to say, can we come make inputs?
100%.
Right. And I'm not saying that it doesn't absolve the policymakers, whether in a national government or continental government, to say you must also seek out to be uncomfortable looking for the people who must be in the room. It's a hard thing. That's what I'm saying. Like the Auda NEPAD white paper thing was very interesting because they literally went out and then ended up finding and saying like, oh, there's actually a community of AI people. And when I asked this one, they say like, oh yeah, there's Data Science Africa there. Maybe bring somebody from there. Oh, there's Masakane there. There's Data Science Nigeria there. And now they're like, okay, let's actually bring them in instead of saying, no, they must be at a distance. We found one. They were like, no, let's actually bring as many of these voices in because we know it's 54 countries. It's not going to be one view.
Prof, I want to pick your brain on something, right?
Yeah.
When we talk about policy and regulation, we also need to talk about enforcement. And I think maybe look into your crystal ball. Because you said something that intrigued me. You speak about the information regulator in South Africa, who is the enforcement for the policy and regulation of personal information. Now, right now we're talking about regulation and policy for AI. Should we anticipate sort of like an enforcement body for people that do not comply with the regulation over AI? How does that even look like? Is it like an information regulator of AI practitioners that look into your data sets, maybe certain biasness? I don't know. Yeah, paint that picture for me. What do you think?
Very interestingly, it most likely goes back to already existing enforcement entities. So on one side, let's take a step, like one step up. If you're thinking about artificial intelligence in South Africa, but people probably in their own countries can learn, can find equivalents. You are going to talk about DTIC, because when it comes to copyright, intellectual property,
they're the guys.
The data, who owns the data, what do you do with data? DTIC comes in. When you're thinking about the R&D and the R&D innovation ecosystem, DSTI.
DSTI, okay.
If you're thinking about maybe applications, the pipes when things have to run through, and all of those things, you're thinking about DCDT. If you're thinking about applications in agriculture, what is it? Forestry, agriculture, ministry comes in because they will also have their own regulations 100%. About how you think. 100%. If you're thinking about applications in health, the National Department of Health, plus even regulators like SAPRA, the ones where we had to look at COVID vaccines.
100%.
If now you're using AI for health, is that not a medical device?
100%.
Right, you see how all of these things now come in. It's not one space. It's now this thing of all of these areas now have to be engaged and saying what part of AI lives inside your purview. And do you understand how you interact with all these other players so that when you're making decisions, they take into account what DSTI might think, what DCDT might think, what NDOH might think, so that from the personal information the information regulator makes. They can't be completely an island. And the same way that the Competition Commission under the TIC can't look at it without
100%.
without that. So that's why us with Recreate South Africa and a couple of other people, as a lab at a university, we are a friend of the court. We're listening to the Copyright Amendment Bill because it's very important. As in South Africa, that bill is now talking to fair use and fair and fair dealing principles.
Yeah.
And people are like, oh, what does that have to do with AI? I'm like, yeah, all of the conversations we've heard is about actors and all of those things. But the other side is that it has major implications for AI practice in South Africa going into the future, because especially for R&D, what will be fair use in the South African perspective? When people say fair use, they're typically actually referring to the American view. It is not written in law in South Africa.
Interesting. I need to ask you this because you just unlocked a question.
Yeah.
And I have to ask this.
Yeah.
I know you're not a government official, but I have to ask this. You know why? Because you are a fly on the wall when they're having those conversations. There's a tug of war in terms of just school of thoughts, and I think the AI race, so to say.
Yeah.
Between the US and China.
Yeah.
Right? We're part of the BRICS. In terms of a framework for AI policy, do you is there I'm trying to understand, is there an influence from both West and East on Africa in terms of how we should approach and in these forums, high level government, when they are engaging with their counterparts in the West, when they're engaging in the counterparts in the East, and you just providing the knowledge, where those whispers are they is it similar perspectives, or is it totally two different school of thoughts?
I think I'm actually in this case going to highlight what Her Excellency Lerato Mataboge, who's the AU Commissioner on Infrastructure, and AI falls under that part of the AU.
100%.
Yeah, you see, where she said that Africa here has to lead. Because there's things we're facing that, again, the rest of the world will catch up to. So because of that, engaging, whether it's Europe, North America, South America, Asia, to say, let's find out how what you've done in the past in this kind of environment. But there's other things that are coming on, especially in this case, like a lot of these kind of community-driven AI initiatives is things that is, even for in a South-South collaboration, is very important, because 100%. We have things that we share, 100%. And then we're now trying to literally put together the infrastructures to say, how do these things become part of the mainstream, as opposed to always being taken as, oh no, they're on the sidelines and all those parts. So because of that, there's always going to be that. And now it's the job of those policymakers to say, how do we make sure in this process we represent the values and the voices of who has sent us to be in these positions.
Yeah.
And maybe now spending time with the policymakers is that I do believe if the policymakers, their things, they stick on that to do policy, we must understand our local values.
100%.
We will get there.
We will get there eventually.
So I'm not prescribing
any school of thought or way to get that. Yeah.
What are our values
in
South Africa?
Priorities?
What are our values and priorities in Zimbabwe?
Got you.
And then if you come up with that, I think the public then says, no, we can trust you. You are bringing up our voice. It is not either or. People try to make it look like, are you looking east or are you looking west? I'm like, why is that? You should be first saying no.
What are priorities?
I've talked to our people, and our people say, these three things.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah, right. For the African continent, on my perspective, on one, we have 50% of our population being younger than 19.
Yeah.
Right? This is either an opportunity or a ticking time bomb. The choices we make, not just in AI, but in many, many parts of our society in the next few years, are going to have lasting impact on those youth.
Okay. Let's come back home.
Yeah.
You're the co-founder, board of Lelapa AI. Yeah. You've been hiring like crazy. Congratulations. In terms of AI talent, are we retaining? There's a lot of AI researchers and engineers here.
Yeah.
Are we retaining? Are we exporting? Because a lot of our brothers and sisters, want to leave for greener pastures. There's still that, aspirational thing of, I want to go to Europe, I want to go to America. Are we retaining talent locally?
I think we're trying. At Lelapa, we named the company Lelapa because we want it to be a home, right? Lelapa in Setswana, it's a home for as many researchers as possible. And we also chose to do a very hard thing. How are you going to build an R&D driven startup, right? That again looks at a problem and then says, on those problems we can go back and then we have basic research that needs to be done because there's fundamental things that are missing. You're going to sort out the translation of that research into engineering that then goes into a product, right? That is not easy. It's hard,
extremely,
extremely hard, and all those things. So we chose to do that, and I really want to appreciate the whole team. Yes, there's the founders, but then there's the executive, and there's all the employees. It has to be appreciated that that's not a simple thing, and we are working through it. We'll make mistakes, we'll learn, and we'll share as much as possible. The thing is, you likely need 1,000 Lelapas in all these different spheres of technology. And how do we get to that? How do we get to an ecosystem that can fund that? How do we get to an ecosystem that trusts that they also should pull and buy the products from those places? And how, again, do we have a regulatory environment that allows
that?
Right, those types of things. I don't have a lot of these answers, but we're going through it. We're trying to understand those pieces. 100%. Right, Lelapa is in a Series A raise at the moment, and it's a very interesting time. And as I'm saying, I have to appreciate the team that's working, and we're all in the ring trying to do this. And in the same way, while I've been here engaging with the other founders, the other startup founders, and getting to learn what they're doing, talking to some of their employees, understanding the challenges that they face, and saying we might have tried this. What are you trying? It has to happen. At the same time, I think there was a conversation about it's our brain drain, it's brain circulation. It's a very important piece of saying we just have to know what our plan is. So people might leave, but if we have a plan of how we engage with our diaspora, then we know we're doing something. It doesn't feel like a loss. It just becomes we have ambassadors who are sitting in Canada, who are sitting in Bulgaria, and how then are they engaged in those things? If we just look at it as as soon as they leave the borders, they're out. I think we lose and they lose. Because now if they keep those connections, they can keep on working on things. They start bringing in even kind of an edge in their skills, even if they're somewhere else, because they're not the same as the person who's sitting next to them who's just been in that one environment. They are I am now a global African.
Prof, something interesting happened. Now, UCT has came out and dropped AI tools for students to now be able to use AI tools. Right?
It was AI tool detection.
Right? UNISA also, I think last year or earlier on this year, they were also having some problems, with AI, use of AI, and the credibility of exams and all those type of things. Prof, how do you see higher education AI is disturbing? It's disturbing and it's disrupting assessments, the way of learning, knowledge transfer. You're the data chair at UP.
Yeah.
How should university be looking at AI? Because here's the reality: students are using AI.
Yeah.
Students are using DeepSeek. Students are using ChatGPT, and they're not going to stop just because the university puts out an email to say stop using it.
Yeah.
So I don't from that level of universities, institutions. How are they looking at the knowledge transfer and proving that I, Batong, as a student, know X, Y, and Z, from the traditional way we used to, get assessments?
Yeah. So on one, I think I was honored to co-lead a task team inside the University of Pretoria on Gen AI for last year with Prof. Gerrit Stoltz, who also works in education innovation. And we were asked that question by our university leadership of saying, as this thing is going on, can you guys go out there and try to figure out how do we navigate this? We have to figure out the values of the university. Of saying we have and come up with what should we do. And the things that came out is obviously the Gen AI tools are going to disrupt teaching, learning, research, also the professional side of the university,
100%.
administrative side. What are going to be the things? So as that was going on, and then it was like, oh, how do we then start bringing up a framework of a policy? And then the other one is, how do we then allow or enable that individual departments can create guidelines through like almost like, okay, here's the spirit of how the university looks at this.
And then each faculty
each department can go like, okay, no, for us, we know that, Gen AI is there, but then it depends on the context of what kind of teaching and assessment is going on.
Got you.
Right, so there might be part where I go like, Gen AI is a great tool for me to actually get the learning to happen.
Got you.
So in this homework,
That's good.
use Gen AI for
Got you.
this. And there's another time where I go like, no, for this one, please don't, because I want you to know, this is what I want you to learn, right? And then there's the part of like, dealing with, okay, now there's integrity. The integrity is that if I say to you, because now we are, I teach master students, we're adults here. I'm not them, like, I've told you this is what, and the thing, and now you go against that. Then there must be a framework of like, how do you deal with that? Right, so you can see here, I've not said this is only one way.
Yes.
I'm saying it depends on the context. And then the point is you got to those So now, the thing I've said to a number of people in this case is like, it comes down to a few core questions. What is teaching?
That's a very good question.
What is learning?
What is learning?
What is assessment?
And how do you prove that?
Right? Yeah. You see,
what is
different
assessment? Techniques to prove that.
And this comes down to like now I sit on the board of the Council for Higher Education. And now we're looking at the whole higher education system and saying they're all going through this at the same time.
At the same time.
What are these reactions that are coming? I work in natural language processing. And if I go back to, again, January 2023, if anybody asked me at that time, oh, we have these AI detection tools, I've said like, look, there's a very simple equation you can come up with here. On one side, you have an AI detection tool that is supposed to detect language on whatever side. On the other side, you have people like me who are natural language processing researchers who are building systems. The reason we call it natural language processing is we're building systems that is working to mimic humans in the way that they produce language,
100%.
whether it's in speech and text.
So how effective
something is going to give here, because we're going to improve the natural language processing tools. It's going to be either a point
100%.
where you reach where either you're making a false positive, you're saying a human is a machine, or it's a false negative, and you're saying a machine
100%
is a human.
100%.
Do you see how?
100%.
You see how
we're working against each other.
Yeah. Right. Even though it's not that we're interacting and we're trying to beat the detector, but that should give you a pause
100%.
that there are likely going to be problems here. All right. It's a simple. I'm hoping people just kind of appreciate what I'm trying to say there. That I don't need to dress it up in complexity. Just that point that you have, like millions of researchers who work on language. And then you have people who will detect it. Think something was going to happen.
Definitely.
And I think we're just at that point now where it's becoming clear. Like, no, the systems, especially when they make false positives, are going to affect people who come from poor backgrounds, who might not be in a way that they, the way they would naturally write is this thing. There's a lot of risk, and it had been shown way before even the Gen AI came in that these tools are not really fit for purpose.
Prof, I have a hypothesis. I have a hypothesis to say that I think we should allow students to use AI and ChatGPTs. I think what we need, because here's the thing, here's the reality, and it's the basis of why I'm saying this. We're not going to, you can't put the toothpaste back in the tube.
No.
So AI is here to stay. The tools are here to stay. Going forward, whether it's at university, people even after they graduate at work are still going to be using these tools. I say let's find new techniques to test assessment, to test knowledge. But the use of the actual tools must stay because people are still going to use it. So whether even if I don't use it, even if I don't use it at university, I'm going to meet colleagues in the workplace that use it and still have an added advantage over me. I don't know if I'm making sense.
No, I get you. I think on one side, even the teachers, right, and here I'm not just talking about higher education, they don't want to end up being just policemen and women running around, and that's their
trying to catch people with AI too.
And in the same time, it's like, Gen AI can be akin to a calculator. It's a tool.
It's a tool.
So you can put in rubbish and you get rubbish out. You wouldn't know that if you don't actually learn the thing that you're thinking you're learning.
I'd even say universities need to get to a point where they create their own ChatGPTs.
Yeah.
Then you use the official, I don't know. It's just like an idea. I don't know how to just follow that.
Yeah, I'm not sure. But I'm saying that in a calculator, you can type in things, it pops out things. The only way that you understand what it popped out is if you actually knew what you were trying to get it to do. So there are going to be these new skills that are to be learned when we think about the future of work and all those parts. At the same time, there is going to be that kind of contract that you get into when you're teaching. Like I'm teaching some classes this semester, and I said to our students at the beginning, I'm like, look here, I'm here to teach you. I'm not here to teach an LLM. So I will tell you, this is what I expect. Can we agree that we will get into this contract for these next 4 months?
100%.
And now, when I say this, please do it in this way. When I say that, and through that, I hope we reward each other's trust. In that you learn very well, I teach very well.
Okay.
Right? You see, that is the big thing.
Okay, let's not make noise between me and you.
Yeah.
Next year, deep learning Indaba, where we going? Just between me and you.
No, a few more hours, a few more.
No, but by the time this comes out, by the time this comes out,
there'll be a lot of unilating. That's all I'll say. There'll be a lot of unilating. The question is going to be, which country is going to be unilating?
You know, there's already like murmurs of a country. I think it's an open secret by now. I don't know if I can say it. Because I mean, it's already out.
You can put out your guess.
I mean, everybody's saying Nigeria.
Oh, we'll see. I don't know. I'm a trustee. I just come in at the end. People tell me. People tell me.
But what's your reflection? I mean, if we do go to Nigeria or not, what's your reflection? Deep learning Indaba next year. We are approaching
almost
your anniversary. Yes,
almost 10 years.
Very soon. Reflect for me.
Look. I think if I think about probably the first day, because again, I'm a trustee, so I haven't been sitting and putting together all this kind of great infrastructure. And hopefully people do understand it's like a circus, right?
Yeah.
It all has to be stood up.
100%.
Right, and then it's here. And I got to just sit and learn, all right? And then I was like, man, we've done it. We're at this point where you can come in. Even though in my head I go like, oh, I'm not an expert. I look at other people's work. You can sit there and go like, I'm here to learn as well.
Got you.
I'm sitting. I'm going to sit there. I'm going to make my notes. I've been releasing like lecture notes for people because I'm literally going like, oh, this is so nice. Look at there's these other resources. Here you go. Use them as well because it's really worthwhile. I'll try and get to Dina's notes later and release them as well.
Yes,
this is like I learned so much from her keynote in those parts, and that's the thing we want. And we didn't want that to be that people have to fly out of the continent to get that.
100% to get that.
And then on the other side, it's people who come here and then say, I came here for the first time 2 years ago. I went back to my country and I said, guys, we're doing this. We can do it. I've seen it. I've seen people who've done it. We can also do it. And we are now at a point where we're building, we've got our own small AI ecosystem. We're funding students, and those people are starting to build things. We're seeing those as well. That's the thing, that it becomes these network effects that if we weren't only looked at, oh, we must just concentrate ourselves, we wouldn't. For people who might not even get, I'm looking at the screen behind you, and you're looking at all of these
partners.
And
the community.
Oh, see, there's Sisonke, there's ML Collective, there's Data Science Nigeria, there's Masaka. This is crazy. It shows you that people have gone no. The Indaba is a place we gather, we teach, we learn from each other, we discuss, we debate, we disagree,
100%.
we work on all those things. And we know after that, our cup is full. We've recharged ourselves to say, now we have another year to go build.
100%.
And we will come back and we'll share and do it the same way.
100%.
And that has become the part. I encourage everybody and anybody who's interested in these spaces that get to your first Indaba.
100%.
Get to your first Indaba, and then you'll kind of experience that. And that's the part that really moves you kind of towards, oh yeah, no. We should find a way how we connect kind of us with all these other communities that show up at that Indaba. And even for me, after Luis Serrano's thing of how he got here. So Luis Serrano was doing the tutorial on attention in Transformers. And the thing that stuck with me was he was in South America, in Latin America. He went to Kipu, which I take as a sister or brother organization to the Indaba. And they were telling him this is welcome to Kipu. This is an Indaba event for Latin America.
Yeah.
And a couple of other ones came up and said, no, we are the Indaba of Latin America. And he's like, no, what is this Indaba
Indaba
thing? I have to
thing.
go make it. And that's how he made it.
That's how he made it,
Yeah. And I'm like, who would have thought?
Yeah, definitely.
Right, the people then going like now, the word just like we are exporting Batum to the rest of
Come on now.
the rest of Africa. Now in Latin America, people say Indaba, and it's because that's showing you, like, again, it doesn't need to be, are you looking east or west?
Yes.
It's who can I
we
learn?
align? Yeah. Who can I work with? Who do we share the same values with?
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Prof, I've said this to you.
Yeah.
I've said it to not only you and your trustees, Prof Benji, Shakir, and the whole roster.
Yeah.
I call you guys the AI Power Rangers. The first one, Power Rangers like 6. Anyway, thank you for your foresight.
Yep.
This year we have like what? Between 700 and 1,000 attendees?
It should be, I think we're probably now close to 1,100.
Yeah.
Just like now, yeah.
Okay, and you look at all this amazing people, and this literally started from a group of less than 10 people.
Yeah.
And it's amazing. And if it was not for that original spark initiative that you guys took over, close to a decade ago, we wouldn't be here.
Yeah.
And I'd like to thank you. Thank you to you and the other trustees. Thank you to the sponsors that make this possible.
Yeah.
Even though they won't give us money, and by the way, come on, advertise, guys. We were available. But I need to say thank you.
There's more stories that have to be told. There's more stories that have to be told. Yeah.
But I have to say thank you because us being here, not only just us, but all other media, all other participants, all other organizations, it creates a snowball effect that we don't really understand or we don't really appreciate the effects of it. We're only going to look at it 20 years from now, 30 years from now to be like, we're in the middle of history.
Yeah.
We're at the beginning of history. And thank you very much.
No, I think for me, I always say that one I cannot take the thing. I'm thankful for the community. For me personally, it's given me much more than I can ever repay. I work every day to try to repay its trust. All the volunteers, it's a crazy thing when you explain to people like, people like volunteer. Another thing people to really understand, and that really got me this week. How many people are taking personal vacation to be here? Because they might not have yet the understanding from their employer or institution.
Got you.
Of like, no,
So
that place I'm going to learn. The place I'm
going to leave, official leave. Yeah.
That is
unpaid leave even sometimes. Yeah.
That's trust.
Yeah.
But that is a trust that we shouldn't take lightly as an ecosystem, not just us. That people are like, no, I know I will gain so much that me taking 10 days
100%
off work
100%.
and just going and being in there, I want to be 100% in there, is something. So it's a signal on one side, but on another side, it's saying, hey, you guys must keep to your mission. Because that's, I am taking a personal sacrifice to make sure I'm here. So we hope to repay that all the time, every year. I hope we've done it in Kigali, and I look forward to the next few years. And I'll be here as long as I can, even though sometimes I have to be other places also still representing the mission.
We got to go to the announcement.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, if they say Nigeria, you got to hear first. Because we're now going to announce it, right? So if they say Nigeria, we're going to post it on our social media. So follow iAfrikan on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and LinkedIn. Yeah. If they say Nigeria, you got to hear first. Unofficially, officially. Thank you so much, dog.